Hey, what's up guys, Lex here bringing you a new video, and today we are back with another LEGO Minecraft set review, and this time we're going to be taking a look at LEGO set 21180, the Guardian Battle. This set comes in 255 pieces and retails for $24.99 in the United States. I mean, just based on the box art, this is one of the most colorful sets we've ever gotten. It takes place in a coral reef, and it includes a lot of new, exclusive, and previously hard to get figures that we've been wanting for a while, and LEGO's finally delivering this. So obviously just in the first minute of this video you can already tell this is my favorite set that came out of this wave. If we take a closer look at what's actually included, we get a couple of axolotl figures. This is our first iteration of them, and I mean they nailed it on the head. I mean, this is pretty much as good as they can get here, size wise, you know, appearance wise, and I'm not complaining here. We also get the diver minifigure exclusive to this set, new skin, and the glow squid, which is also exclusive. In-game, not my favorite mob, but hey, I am glad to get one in LEGO form. In addition, we can see some Guardians here, which we'll take a look at. These are some figures that we've definitely been wanting for a while as well. So yeah, this is an awesome looking set just from face value. And without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, here's a set fully built up in its entirety, and as always, before we take a look at the build, we are first going to be taking a look at the minifigures. Alright guys, starting off with our first figure here, this being the axolotl. So this is the yellow variant. We'll get into why I'm showing this one in particular off first. Obviously, this is the first time we are seeing the axolotl build or figure in general, and I think LEGO did a pretty good job representing it here. This is only two pieces, this being the face print on a 1x1 square tile attached to like a body build of the axolotl. You can see all the parts of the axolotl poking out. You got like the ears, I guess we'll call it that, even though I'm pretty sure they're not ears. We got the tail and the little legs poking out too. This is like a really good representation of it. LEGO knocked it out of the park. The face doesn't have to be anything crazy, and I think they knew that too. So, you know, a couple square prints to represent the face. It's always worked for Minecraft in the past. It's gonna work here, and I think they did a really good job with this. I'm glad they used a little mold here instead of trying to build it, because if they tried to build it out of bricks, it would have been a little bit too oversized. Even these are slightly too big, but in terms of LEGO Minecraft, it's pretty much perfect size to what we would expect. So yeah, I'm really happy with the build, and I think LEGO definitely knocked it out of the park when it comes to the axolotl, and happy to see it here, especially a very recent mob being added this quickly compared to other ones. But yeah, that's been the axolotl minifigure. Moving on. Next up here we have the glow squid. Now this mob in particular has had a dark past. Not really, it's more so of like a joke. Just not a lot of people were happy to see him being added in the game, but you know, that's a separate discussion for a different time. But anyways, this glow squid is actually from one of the most recent updates of Minecraft, so it won the fan vote, it got added, and regardless of how you feel about it, LEGO did a pretty good job of representing this here. We've seen them do the squid before, and they essentially just copy pasted that build. I mean, why wouldn't they, right? It's literally a squid just in a different color scheme here. Now they mix in like the light blue, dark blue, and a little bit of yellow there to represent that it's kind of glowing here. You can see in the faceplate essentially here, where they actually have the printing, you can get the face is pretty accurate here. You got the white, you got the variation of blue as well. And I think they did a pretty good job representing it here. It's very similar to the last squid we got, and for good reason. Keep it consistent, and the last one worked well. This one also works well, so no reason to change it up. I love how the whole face print is also just a printed tile. Always happy to see that, and yeah, not disappointed with this figure in terms of its accuracy compared to his in-game counterparts. So yeah, this has been the glow squid. Moving on. Next up here we have the diver minifigure. Now this particular figure is a new one to the LEGO Minecraft skin collection, so it's awesome to keep getting new figures included in these sets, especially some of the cheaper sets as well. No more Steves and Alexes. Well, we're still gonna get them obviously, but not as many just scattered about in every set. And this one in particular, it looks really good here. We got, obviously, it's trying to represent a diver, and I think they represent it pretty well here. In the back, it has a little bit of printing. You can see there, it has a little bit of an oxygen tank. Obviously, it's covered up by this build here, which I will explain what it is in a little bit. It also comes with a trident accessory. Again, awesome to keep getting these new skin figures instead of repeat Alex and Steves in all these different Minecraft sets. So now we're done talking about that. Now let's talk about the little attachment that's in the back. So pretty much in-game, if you were to tame or befriend an axolotl, they essentially follow you, kind of like dolphins. But not only that, they also help you fight like bad guys, essentially, like these guardians. In fact, they're pretty good when trying to take those down. So It's actually a strategy to bring like a good amount of axolotls with you if you're going to take down a water temple, as well as them being really good companions to bring with you. So yeah, they usually swim like directly next to you, kind of like parrots. They are the side of you and the shoulders. That's what it's trying to represent here, just them floating near you. That's why this little contraption slash backpack build is here, to represent the axolotls following you. And I think it's a pretty good addition. So yeah, really happy with this figure. They gave it quite a bit to work with, and not too upset with this in the slightest. So yeah, that's been the diver minifigure. Moving on. Next up here, we have the Guardian build. Now, as you can see here, it's a very complex build when you really take a look at it from face value. And as we'll see later when we take a look at the actual build of the set, even though this is technically a build as well, but I'm counting it as a figure slash mob included instead, so showing it off here. But anyways, taking a look at this Guardian build here, it's a very nice Guardian. Now, we did see this in the past, obviously. This was first introduced in the Ocean Monument set. That's an obvious inclusion, right? You're going to have a Guardian included there. And they pretty much just copy-paste the build here, and no reason not to. This is a pretty nice build that they got right the first time, and no reason to change it up here. We have the tail in the back. It has a lot of movement available for you, so if you really want to move the tail, you can. The spikes obviously being represented by these pieces as well, sticking out. That's a really nice way to do it. And with just using one printed tile piece here, this being the eye, they did a really good job of representing this. I mean, I couldn't think of a better way to do it myself. Obviously, a molded piece would be nice, but that can be pretty expensive, and I think Lego came up with a really good compromise back then, and we can see it even now. The build still holds up pretty well. No reason to change it in my opinion. So yeah, that's been the Guardian build. Really nice figure to be getting here. Once being included in expensive sets, even more expensive now, and now being widely available in this $25 set. Really happy with it. So yeah, that's been the Guardian figure. Moving on. Last up here, we have one of the forgotten bosses from Minecraft, this being the Elder Guardian. Now, he's not necessarily forgotten, more so just not put at the same pedestal as the Wither and the Ender Dragon, but for good reason. This is the Elder Guardian. This is one of the main boss monsters you're going to fight if you try to take down a water temple, or take over, I should say. These guys, similar to the regular Guardian, have a pretty unique look, this being with the spikes poking out, but this one ends up being a little bit bigger in game. Obviously looks fairly more intimidating. It's called the Elder Guardian because, you know, the colors are more stale. You can really tell that this mob has been around for quite a bit. The build is essentially the same. It has a tail in the back, obviously a little bit different. It has a little bit of a crystal poking out back there. Maybe a reference to one of its drops. And taking just a good look at it. Again, only using one printed tile piece for the eye, and that eye does quite a bit. It shoots lasers out of it, similar to the Guardians, and not only that, it can also give you a negative potion effect where you can't really mine blocks at all. It gives you mining fatigue if you're anywhere near it. It doesn't even have to be staring at you. So it's a pretty strong mob, pretty annoying mob more so than anything. Definitely makes taking over a water temple more difficult with this guy around. Not only that, it's not just a regular build, but it also has a play feature. This being in the mouth, you can see there's a flick fire missile in it, and in the back, you can actually see the missile pointing out there. And you don't really have to interact with it either. Lego has a pretty nice build slash design here to where if you just move the tail, trying to give you guys a better angle, if you just move the tail back and forth, it automatically goes off because obviously it's putting pressure on it, and the missile goes flying. That missile went behind my table. It's lost forever now. Luckily, we have an extra laying right here, and Lego does give you extras as well, luckily, for just that case. And you can just attach it right back. Just as easy as how you lost it. But obviously, be careful. This thing can pack quite a punch. But yeah, that's been the Elder Guardian. Really good build. First included in the Water Temple sets. Now included here. Similar to the other Guardian. Really cool design. Didn't really have to change it up at all. And that's just another example of Lego getting some Minecraft mobs right the first time. So yeah, that's been the Elder Guardian. Happy to get in a much cheaper set now and adding it to the collection. Now we're done looking at the minifigures. Now let's take a look at the builds. Alright, now we're done looking at the figures. We can take a closer look at the builds. So moving these guys out of the way, we can take a look at what it actually has included for us right now. So let's start from the beginning here, from the front. Now, given that the majority of the pieces went to the actual Guardian builds, that's why it's a pretty basic design here, but it still references something that's pretty important to Minecraft, and obviously the colors that they use here are pretty stand out, if I do say so myself. So starting out from the front here, we can take a close look at what's on the left side. This being the coral blocks and coral glowing on top of it. We got some pink coral blocks here, and on top we get the regular coral. Kind of looks like grass if you ever seen it in game, just poking out of the pink coral. Here we got some seagrass, obviously just trying to be represented here by this piece. We also get some sea cucumbers, these in-game glow, and I love the usage of these light blue pieces on top, the flower pieces. It kind of gives it the vibe that it's actually glowing, and it just in general, it's a very nice color to get. Further, now moving to the right, here we go. We have some red coral and some blue coral growing on top of it, some very good contrast there, color-wise. We also have some kelp growing from the tallest red coral block, leading up to the top of the pillar. We'll get into that a little bit later. Moving to the right, we also have moving to the right, we also see some more kelp growing again to the top. Taking a look at the back here, just a few more pieces of detail. We have some yellow coral blocks and then some pink coral growing on top of it. And essentially the bottom of the pillars down here as well. So now moving on to like the pillar section. This being obviously a reference to the main entrance to the water temple. So if you ever seen the water temple in game, you can see these rings or pillars leading up to the entryway. And this is what it's trying to represent here. It has 2 sea lanterns on every ring. And you can see them being represented here by the light blue blocks again, giving off that glowy vibe without actually using a light brick. And I think they represent it pretty well if you buy multiples of these and you actually have the Lego water temple that was released like a good while ago. You can kind of combine them and make it even more accurate of a structure, because the water temple that Lego made was pretty good to begin with. We also got some more kelp growing on top of it, and obviously the 2 mobs hanging on top, the glow squid and the yellow axolotl. So yeah, that is pretty much it. Again, not too much to take a look at here build wise, because you know a lot of pieces they in fact get used on these guardians instead, but obviously to great effect as we took a look at earlier. But yeah, overall this was an incredible set, a $25 set. Crazy how much an extra $5 really improves the set. You've heard me talk about $20 sets being like really good sometimes, like better than they need to be, and this in our case. Yeah guys, that is pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Consider becoming a member to keep feeding the collection addiction. Hope you like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.